Hello, I'd like to welcome you to Ideas with Diana. Hello, I'd like to welcome you to Ideas with Diana on YouTube. I have some note that I found out about one local radio station that we used to broadcast from. Apparently, due to changes in due to this COVID-19 thing with Parkside and other universities having to close session early, and other options regarding budgeting from the UW System Board of Regents. The radio station at Parkside, WIPZ, has been temporarily suspended and was suspended May 29th. Part of the reason for that is just basically at it's in Wisconsin still everything was not reopened yet. So what the plan is basically for WIPZ is to come back in May of 2021. A decision will be made either to reopen or to permanently close the station. I surely hope that basically, they can keep the station open because it is important for people to be able to, just basically sort of learn how to do radio, how to express their views. There are many friends I know, and one friend that actually encouraged me to sign up for WIPZ to do my radio show originally. And I liked it. It was a fun experience. And the thing about it is people think, well, sometimes people have preconceptions of what radio's like and what it is like to. But the nice thing about WIPZ, where it's located at Parkside, it's a fully functional radio station. They actually have a dubbing room, a studio. A studio is big enough to accompany a band of four to play live. And they have various computers set up. I mean, when you go inside there, you take a look and you see it's not just one big mainframe. It's basically multiple computers and namely Dells, interlinked together, and then you have a pad where you can actually click. You can actually have sound effects or something else for commercials or well, not commercials, but for public announcements because they are a nonprofit. And the thing is, even remote sites, because in 2018 we did the broadcast for the Raiders games, and that was fun. That was fun to do because basically what happened, what I learned from it, as well as others, though, is just they'd set up at the field, we'd be down at the station, and then you link up and actually. Sometimes I always wondered how they did that nowadays, and the thing is, it's actually done by a Wi-Fi link. So it's actually like linking two computers by Wi-Fi from a far distance, and then what happens? You have the headset on, and so doing the game, like one person say, well, okay, well now we'll switch over to WIPZ for station identification, and then you go on the panel, and you click this button that says WIPZ 101.5 FM, and the thing about that is that you really get into basically on how to do many aspects of radio. How you do basically remote broadcasting, even doing a live show like we did. I mean, basically we had ideas written down as to what we're going to talk about, but we didn't just stand here like reading a script like, well, today we're going to talk about this, and this, with our head buried in the script. We actually sometimes elaborated quite a bit on the script too, because we thought that with new information coming in, we thought it was important to do that. The most important thing about having WIPZ at Parkside, though, was it's interesting. Sometimes when people do radio, do podcasting, you actually wonder what people think when they're listening. Basically you say, well, are they really interested in when I'm listening? Are they sort of joking? Do they think it's too serious? Do they think it's too lighthearted? And sometimes most of our comments would actually come just as we were finishing show, because what we do is when we finish the show Parkside, Parkside has a Starbucks, and I go and get my Starbucks blonde coffee latte, and sort of like a sort of a low power coffee. And sometimes I'd hear things like, "Well, Diana really had a great show today. She really hit upon this and this," and other times I'd hear, "Well, I didn't quite understand what they're trying to say," but on the points where basically they did, I mean, it was points that some people may not think that many college students are interested in. Like for example, Lon did a history segment, this day in history, and a lot of students sort of eventually saw how some things link up, and I did as part of my first segment a little bit on financial planning. We talked about what does it mean when someone's looking for a job, after graduation, even while they're in college. What does at-term employment mean? What does at-will employment mean? At-term employment is like a professional athlete. You sign a contract, you agree to work for a team for, so many seasons, and you're going to get paid this lump sum. But if you change your mind, you don't want to work for that team for so many seasons, then basically you have to pay a penalty for not finishing that contract. Or if the team decides, well, basically if we trade you to another team and we can get 2 other players, well, then what the team has to do is they have to pay you the remainder of your contract when you're traded over to the other team, because it's a guarantee. It's a term, basically whatever the term of contract is, 1 season, 2 seasons. Now, at will is basically like what most jobs all of us work at. What that means is at will is that your employer can let you go at will, or you can leave your job at will, and that's where the thing comes in. It's customary to give a 2 weeks notice. The 2 weeks notice is part of the old at-term clause that was used in English common law, basically, because all jobs back then were at-term. So the 2 weeks notice is a leftover from that. So basically, it's not like, well, you're not given a warning. But sometimes, in some jobs, if it's really that adverse or that risky or that dangerous or it's making you ill, there's you can resign right away. I mean, basically just resign, because basically you have a right to be happy what you're doing, and you have a right to be healthy. So, and with the radio show, WIPZ, we reached about many people in northern Racine, up to northern Racine, a little bit down into northern Illinois, and then. But the main thing though is we sort of had our own version of a live studio audience, because the radio station for WIPZ was actually located right next to the cafeteria. So there's actually like a glass window that's plexiglass window separated us from the cafeteria, so we could actually see what was how everyone was responding with the cafeteria like that though, and it was a nice way to do it. And sometimes when we had a tape show, I did an interview one time. I had a tape show, and I was on campus that day. I wanted just to see how the tape show sounded in the cafeteria. I heard it, and one guest that was on there, Quinn, when she made a few jokes, and that we could just hear the laughter and everything else. And it's just nice to see that we even at a tape show we had a good interaction with the audience. The thing is, though, I don't know how many colleges actually have their own radio station, but even if you're not planning on going radio, it is a great experience, though, because you learn a lot of things, you meet a lot of people, and also you get to see. Well, one benefit is you get to see all the new music coming out. So basically, we used to get a stack of CDs this high and LPs and and sometimes we played some, sometimes we didn't. But basically, you could see, and we also had different music journals, Billboard, some others, Rolling Stone, and you could see what was going. You could read what was going on, and also read interviews of what people were thinking. Like one interview I read was Casey Musgrave, the interview she gave the Billboard, but I think 2017 or something, about 2017, 2018. and as nice as called the Next Gen Nashville, and that was and I actually made a poster of it that I have in my living room with the first page of her song "Follow Your Arrow" as part of the poster I made. Um, and I do hope, we're hoping basically with this COVID-19 that a lot of things will return to normal, because I'm sure a lot of us want to get back to when you go to McDonald's, you go to Wendy's, you're not getting your food through drive-through. You actually, you go to McDonald's and you see like number 268 coming, you see someone coming bringing it to your table. We go to Wendy's or some, like when I go to Wendy's, sometimes they're very busy, and they get a little behind. They say, well, just give me a call when you're ready, and here in the back going, Diana, it's ready. So I'll just walk up and pick it up, I'll sit down in a chair and walk, while waiting, and and just do it that way, but it's we'll get back to normalcy pretty soon, though. It's just going to be, maybe for a while till spring. But something else I wanted to bring up, though, during this period, though, I have had a chance to try some new development programs for developing applications like Lazarus and Rad Embarcadero. With Rad Embarcadero, to the guys in San Antonio at Embarcadero who sent me all the email messages to help me get installed, thank you. I finally was able to get installed. Also to the women too who sent it, I was able to get installed. But to all of you down there, it's interesting what I found what the error was when I was trying to install the program. It gave something like basically database.bpl as present, and it can't override it. Well, I found out what the database.bpl was a very old edition of Delphi 7 that I had on my system. And what I can't understand is basically, if it could detect a file and it says it's locked, why can't you, in the install procedure, if you see like an old system on there, just ask the question, detected old installation of such and such and such, and this file is locked, blocking installation. Do you want us to unlock the file and just remove the old system for installation, yes or no, and then basically just go on and do it? I mean, the other thing I noticed too when I was installing Embarcadero too is I'm used to the days where basically everything was installed on one CD disk, not multiple. So when I downloaded and did an online install, you see the progress bar goes like this, and then suddenly you see it waiting, and your computer says not responding, but your drive light's on. And what I did basically is at the time I was a little bit frustrated, so I thought, well, okay, I'll just let it sit and see what happens. So I had a cup of coffee, watched something on Netflix. 40 minutes later, this bar was all the way over, the system was up, and it just went up like this. It'd be nice if you had something, when the bar is doing all this intermediate work, that you could just have like a flashing light that just flashing light icon that just lets someone know that the program's still going. And when they see the not responding message, not to panic, that everything is still running. But once I did get installed, I'm very happy. I'm very happy with the Embarcadero Rad project program. I use it primarily for Delphi because I prefer Delphi coding. And I did try it for basically Delphi and Android, and I liked how that works. What else? Let's see what else I did try. Did 64-bit and also tried it for dual Windows and Mac coding, and that's nice. What I like though about the dual coding thing is you can design one form, and then basically it takes the components and translates it over the other form. So if you design a form for Windows, then it translates it over to Android, and you don't have to worry about going through all this other stuff that you have to sometimes do with other programs. Same thing with Mac to Windows. It's just, and I understand with the Mac version, when you make Mac code, you have to have a Mac tool on it, and when you have Android, you have to have an Android device connected to run it as well. The thing though is what's what I do what I do like is I do like the idea of community licensing, because Embarcadero has idea community licensing, and Microsoft has community licensing for Visual Studio. I like both. I like both development platforms. It's just the problem is I'm not really a big fan of C, even though it's now even though the latest incarnation is C#. I still think of C as needing a ball of Tylenol because of all the no pointers. And even when I tried to implement an AI program, I was doing one where basically it was doing a natural language parsing. So you type in the thing and basically it parses each word and makes it into a data record. Well, the problem is basically I kept getting no pointer errors. I wondered, well, wait a minute, I have this defined as a struct. I have this defined as new and such and such and such. Well, what happened was basically when I actually went into the routine, I actually had to set up, even though it was all defined, I actually had to put the string as with a null string, which is basically like this, and then add on the other string. And so it's like basically, even though it's defined, it's not really defined, because basically the string data as points to nil, which when you try to concatenate nil with a data string in C, your system crashes and says, well, you have a pointer error and no pointer error and blah blah blah, and that's why I sort of stay mostly in Delphi. I do like the Visual Basic portion, because I think that's actually more. I think that's better for people who aren't computer scientists to write code, and that's how originally Pascal and Delphi started, because Pascal was actually started to teach people in business how to write code. So for those basically who didn't have the time or didn't have the aptitude to learn Fortran or COBOL or PL1, because basically in all those you had a little bit know, like in the environment section, COBOL, you had to know how to type the environment statements depending on what type of IBM you were working with, or even if you're working with a PDP 1170. And PL1, same thing. You had to do that. Fortran is pretty easy, but basically Fortran was more doing string processing in early days of Fortran. Did take a little effort because they didn't have their own string routines like Fortran. Fortran then evolved in the 90s and later, 2015, and I think the 2019 standards have like that though. But for those of you who watch Star Trek: The Next Generation, and you see this opening scene where you see Jupiter and the rings like that. Well, remember that's an actual generation from DataSim from Voyager, and the video for that was actually done by a Fortran program written by JPL. Is written in Fortran 77, and the reason 77 is because that's the year to compile. So it's about that same time, and that's where, basically that scene comes in. It's very memorable because it's the first time false color imaging was used that far in space. The first use of it was when Viking 1 landed on Mars, but again, that false color imaging was done through Fortran, because in those days to do graphics that high quality, you had to have a supercomputer, something more better in graphic capability and power than a mainframe and that. So, well, one thing what we're trying to do is we're trying to get everyone back together. It's just right now still in Wisconsin, and I'm sure in other places, there are various restrictions about getting people back together. Like even my building, it's only one visitor at a time. So what we're planning to do for the future, though, just more closer to when, basically around September, we're going to do an outdoor broadcast where we set up some chairs and we just sit outside and practice social distancing, doing it that way. Right now, basically it's about 88 degrees outside, but but we're thinking by September we'll be able to get everyone back together, and we'll be able to do at least some outdoor broadcast like that, though. And the thing about the outdoor broadcast, we have to be in a place where we're nearby Wi-Fi signal that we can log into. So because we can do it from the smartphone, but what happens, as many people know, is when you talk to some friends on Zoom, they have slow internet. It comes very jerky, and the picture breaks up. So we're hoping to find a place where we can basically do it outside and have guest access to Wi-Fi, so we can just use the same computer and that. Though one thing that's new in this broadcast is I did pick up a new mic, and I'm wondering what your comments are on that, because I'm trying to pick up a mic where basically I don't have to shout so much, because there's something like that the radio station was when we were there. We could all adjust the amplifier. So basically when someone talked and you looked at the voice meter, basically you'd see something like this. You wouldn't see it way over here. You wouldn't see it way down there. So, you want it so we could adjust the amplifier back and forth, for each individual person. That's what I used to do whenever we come in. We come in about 5 minutes before, and I adjust the amplifier, and then basically I do the induction. But the thing is, though, that's so I'm hoping with this one mic I bought a blue mic, blue ice mic like that, though, and I'm trying to see basically just how it picks up my voice. It looks like from the voice meter it is quite well like that, though. So we'll see. The point, another point I wanted to mention, though, is with everything that's going on, though, just a note to a few people that do give food stamps. In Wisconsin, they did increase the food stamp benefits so that you do get extra funds to pick up food like that. In most cases, over $100 extra. So check to see if you see it. Normally, they add it on the day that they're gonna, that they issue the new amount for your card, and and for many people have been just using it basically to make sure they stock up, that they have enough, and stuff like that, because there's still a meat shortage going on and some other things, so just make sure, just get stuff that, and that's what, and a lot of us have packed our freezers like that. So, but the thing is, but when they do add the new benefits, sometimes you won't get the letter until about a week later, because sometimes, depending on what the mail is in your area, sometimes even from Masson, it can take 10 days from Masson for a state let it go from Masson to he's seen. So or if you have online access, you can check online right away and then see what the status is. Well, let me know what you think. And our website is still Ideas with Diana on Twitter. And when you go on the Facebook page, you'll see this when you go to WIPZ's Facebook page. You'll see the notice on there. I found out about yesterday by contacting a friend who let me know. So for those of you basically who have listened to WIPZ and have worked at a WIPZ in one capacity or another, let your thoughts be heard, because this is a very important time, because right now it is very much a decision will be made as a go or no go, by May 2021. So if you really want the station to go, make sure you send some sort of comment in to let Parkside know like that, and the Board of Regents know like that. So because those letters, or even just a short email does help, because to let them know that people are concerned. Well, this has been Ideas with Diana, and have a good weekend.